Customers decide how they want to buy, and it's our job to make sure we get it to them in the easiest way possible.
You always have to figure out exactly where your customers are so that you can create that great experience.
It's only a couple of seconds, but it made it that much easier. Oh, which one did I buy last time? It's right there. You don't have to second guess.
Your ability to adapt to that, to personalize that experience, to repeat a positive experience each time is really a competitive advantage for Tractor Supply.
That is very unique. And it's that sort of neighbor type feel that we can do and that is very special, sort of increases our differentiation of our customers.
Today we're sitting down with Matthew Rubin, President of Digital and E-commerce at Tractor Supply. And here's what makes this conversation different. Matthew isn't a tech guy.
A great career in retail operations, merchant roles, store management, and that's exactly why his approach to digital commerce is working.
And we're talking about a company that delivers everything from dog food to pallets of cattle feed to live chickens. Try building out a checkout flow for that.
Well, I'm ready to buy some chickens, but here's what got me is that they don't just think mobile first, which is what you hear all the time. They're mobile native. And that's an important difference because when you're sitting there on the back of your property and in the case of the story that I made up on the spot, way too big of a property, and your horses need feed, you're not pulling out a laptop, you're using your phone, and you're doing it on a bad connection. And that's a really important thing to recognize.
Well, Matthew also shares how COVID created this unexpected surge in people wanting to be self-sufficient. Everything from growing their own vegetables, raising chickens for eggs, the whole 9 yards.
And duck eggs are apparently phenomenal for baking. I already let my wife know we're considering ducks too. By the way, just a free tip from Matthew.
The real insight, though, Matthew explains why Frictionless isn't just about the digital experience. It's about every touch point, from when a customer first learns about you in store or to ordering online, to even their delivery driver asking where on your 60-acre property you want the pallet dropped, not 600.
They literally take notes so the next driver knows exactly where to go. And that's not technology solving friction. That's understanding your customer well enough to know what friction actually is to them.
So if you've ever wondered how a company navigates delivering everything from beef jerky to stock tanks to live birds, or why sometimes the best digital experience requires when not to be purely digital,
this is a conversation that is going to be completely reframing how you think about omnichannel, last mile delivery, and what it really means to reduce friction for your customers.
Let's get into it. Welcome to the Frictionless Experience, the podcast where we lay waste to digital friction. I'm Chuck Moxley.
And I'm Nick Palladino.
And joining us today is Matthew Rubin from Tractor Supply. Matthew, welcome.
Chuck, thanks. Good to be with you both.
Just, your background, you're at Tractor Supply, which we'll talk a lot about, is kind of unique, but even your background on you have kind of a career that spans retail operations, merchant roles, store management, a lot of different things beyond just digital. Curious why having a non-technical leader run digital might actually be an advantage from your perspective.
Yeah, it's a great question, Chuck. I've been blessed to have a lot of different roles and responsibilities within the retail and consumer ecosystem. I've actually been on the other side of the desk as a vendor as well, selling into some of the largest retailers, including ones I've worked at previously. So I've had kind of all sides, if you will. And I've done most of the functional roles within the retail ecosystem, as I mentioned, as you called out. And I think that breadth of experience has been really helpful in this new role in running our digital and e-commerce business as a business unit. And some of the core fundamentals that are required in operating a business, and all that experience has kind of helped with that.
Having the understanding of these operational fundamentals and P&L, how do you think that translates into better digital experiences? How do you make that transition?
Yeah, well, I think basic good strategy starts with the customer. And, is the customer having a good experience with you when they shop. And the definition of how they shopped has evolved over our more than 86 years now in business, right? It was a stores first business for a long, long time. And as we continue to evolve, our customer has evolved with us. And sometimes that's because of our offerings, but also because of other offerings that are in the marketplace, right? Businesses that have started up that have caused customers to think differently about how they transact, even some legacy companies. So we're keeping up, and in a lot of ways we're ahead of the curve, and we do that not for the interest of technology, but the interest of customer. So I think that my experience as a operational leader has been focusing on that customer, and it's really no different here. Customers decide how they want to buy, and it's our job to make sure we get it to them in the easiest way possible. And I think the less directive we are, and the more prospective we are in terms of what that customer wants and meeting those needs, is a good thing.
You touched on it where you talked about how the customer wants to buy. How do you guys think about multi-channel? Because you mentioned that in an earlier call that you guys have a lower penetration and a higher opportunity. Talk a little bit about that and how your customer is evolving in that multi-channel experience and how you then meet that demand.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we're turning on more and more customers to shopping us in an omni-channel way. And if you think about shopping with us in an omni-channel way, what does that mean, right? So your customer comes into the store, they're used to coming into the store, talking to our team member, and our experience in the store is fantastic. Our team members do an unbelievable job of greeting customers, knowing in some cases what kind of animals they have, how much land they have, what type of grass they plant, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of knowledge of our customers on a one-on-one basis. But if you think about all that purchase history and all that data with our Neighbors Club program with over 40 million members now, all of that lives digitally as well. So how do we make that experience easy when you just need to buy something real fast, a rebuy, if you will? And the old days you'd have to go inside your house, get on your laptop and make a purchase. Right now, you can be out in your property using our app or using our mobile website. And we actually design our web experience to be mobile native because most of our customers are out on their properties, right? They're caring for their animals and so on. They're walking around their barn or their shed going, oh, darn, I need XYZ, and be able to rapid reorder that product. So it can be a shopping experience, it can be a learning experience, but it also can be just a convenient way. Instead of creating a to-do list and having to go back into the house to go do that work, you get to do it on the property right there where your where your needs need to be met. And then you can choose whether to pick up the item or have us deliver it to your property. And the benefit of our business is because our stores are located in true out here markets, we're close to our customers. So we can get products to our customers quickly from our stores. And that gives us a unique advantage compared to some of the true, pure play omni-channel guys or direct digital only guys, I should say.
That resonates with me a lot, especially when we're talking about being on a property and being able to have this immediate experience. I have a background, Home Depot, as our audience surely knows at this point, but we always talked about the contractor experience while on a job site. And it's the exact same thing. And it's abundantly important to get it right, get it fast, and have it working in situations that are not ideal network conditions. Because a job site or being on a 60-acre property and you're on the far side, you need to do something back there, and maybe you're clearly not going to have Wi-Fi out there, but are you even going to have a good cell signal? And what kind of experience do you have in that moment? And that's when our experiences, the digital experiences that supplement the omnichannel experiences, elevate. Because it's the same thing that I lived with the job site type mentality. It was always about the job site, but that then transcends to everybody's experience, because now all of a sudden you have a DIYer who's sitting in their bathroom trying to repair, and they're under the sink. I hate being under a sink, by the way. For whatever reason, it's the most miserable feeling ever. I'll do it, but I hate it. So I'm like looking up, and if I need to buy something, I need to take a picture, I need to figure it out. Same exact thing. You always have to figure out exactly where your customers are so that you can create that great experience. I actually didn't know that you guys were mobile native. That's interesting. You hear mobile first all the time, but mobile native means something a little bit different than mobile first. Mobile first kind of just means you're thinking about it.
And I think what we've done too is you'll see a lot of web view. So when you have the mobile web experience and the app experience, it's very similar, wrapped, of course, in other benefits that come with the app. But we want that. We don't want to make it hard for the customer to have to shift through different experiences with us. We want that to be relatively consistent. And the logged in experience for us is materially better, right? So we keep reminding customers, log in with us, sign up for Neighbors Club, log in with us, because we want to show you features that make shopping with us easier. I mentioned buy it again a moment ago. Buy it again is really a header for us on our site, right? And some of our competitors put it other places and so on. That's great. But we wanted to move it up because we know that there's a lot of repeat purchases in our business, and that just took time and gave it back to the customer to take care of their land and animals. And it's only a couple of seconds, but it made it that much easier. Oh, which one did I buy last time? It's right there. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to go back and look at your order history to figure it out. You're 2 clicks away from being able to purchase that item and having it delivered, or setting it up for a BOPIS order to pick up in store. And I think that reducing that friction is a goal of ours. It's what we constantly think about when we say we put the customer and their experience first. It's around transacting in an easier way and then running it like a business. Make sure we're creating enough great experiences that that customer wants to shop us more often and spend more with us, because that should just happen naturally, right? Not necessarily because of any given promotion or what have you, but just the order flow and the experience they have when they visit us.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about every second mattering. I think about any project I've ever done, and the moment that I have to stop because I need something, doesn't matter what it is, then you have to think about doing that. If I'm then on the app and I have a frustrating experience, I've now taken that momentum of whatever project I've done and broken it even further. And I'm not frustrated at my project. I'm not frustrated at me. I'm frustrated at whoever I'm shopping with. In this case, I'm going to say Tractor Supply, but I'm not frustrated with Tractor Supply.
Well, I think too with our customers, it's a great point. With our customers, I mean, they have a variety of different animals on their properties often. So, the different types of feed and food, those aren't times where you want to be going out and searching, right? You want to know, you want to get what you need right away. You don't want to second guess it, and you don't necessarily have time to drive to a store. How do we make that? How do we make that simple? And the nice part too, with our buy online, pick up in store capability, and all the other great experiences we have in the store, you want to go visit a store and have those, you can have the core product that you need to pick up and still go there and ask a question, right? And tie that experience together. And our team members just do a phenomenal job, as I mentioned earlier, of knowing who our customers are. And I think that true omni-channel experience is reserving that inventory, because you're driving several miles in a lot of cases from more rural markets to get to stores. And then when you're there, you want to make the most of that experience. You want to make sure we have it and you can get your questions answered. And I think we do a nice job tying that together. And if you want the ultimate in convenience, we'll deliver it to you. In some cases, if you order by 2 p.m. today, we can get it to you same day. And, that's using our stores as sort of forward deployed inventory, which is a unique advantage in how we serve customers that want to live the out here lifestyle even better.
Well, and I think the idea of making the starting point reordering is really smart for a company like yours, where a retailer like yours, where the people are constantly reordering. Even Amazon doesn't make it that easy. Amazon, you still have to click on you have to click on orders, then you go to reorder. And so it's like 3 steps, an extra step. And that's my use case for reordering, because I get a lot of stuff off Amazon.
That's why when we look at our omni-channel penetration, the number of customers that shop us in an omni-channel way, we see nothing but opportunity, right? Because if we can demonstrate that convenience to more and more of our customers, we know when they shop us in an omni-channel way, they visit us more often, they spend more with us, right? That's been going on for a long time. But what we often don't know is, like, that translates to even more visits in store, because they do BOPIS a lot, right? So it's not just that it becomes a digital purchase and you're augmenting your store sales with digital sales. It's actually driving additional store traffic. It makes that customer that much stickier. And for us, that's a focus. And I know that, as a company, we've put a lot of energy around making sure that digital customer feels very welcome when they walk in the store. Hey, your order's right here. What else can I get for you? And so on. So that we wrap that digital experience with a great in-store experience.
I see a lot of brands getting that aspect wrong, thinking that it starts and ends with getting that transaction, confusing between, hey, someone is loyal to me because they spent once or even twice or even 3 times. Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you've gained loyalty, because the moment they have a bad experience or they have a good experience somewhere else, they may shift all of their attention over there because they've just been longing for something better and they're just putting up with it because it's all they know. And once they know something better, then they start shifting there. So the fact that you're thinking in that way is it gets past one of the initial pitfalls that I've seen over and over and over again in this business.
I think our store format lends itself to that behavior, Nick. We have a relatively small store format. Most stores are under 20,000 square feet. And we have our hubs and our newly designed layouts. It is night and day difference when a customer comes in. You have a team member standing right in our hub, right in the front of the store, welcoming a customer in, right? So say, hey, I'm coming here to pick up an online order. Boom, they're ready to go. We have the BOPIS cabinets right there. They can walk them over. What else can I get you today? Hey, I haven't seen you in here before. Are you new to the neighborhood? All the things that we can ask because we're right out there talking to those customers. That's called our Fusion remodel program. And, we've been remodeling Shane here now for the last 4+ years to this new Fusion layout and creating that even more welcoming experience when a customer walks in the door. And, as you often see in the holiday timeframe, people are out shopping Black Friday deals or Cyber deals or what have you, right? They're making that first purchase in a lot of cases with a retailer for the first time. And, we're no different. We welcome a lot of new customers during that time of year. And then the question is, how do you hold on to that customer? How do you make them feel different than the experience they're going to get when they go to pick up their orders at other retailers or get those delivered? We have an opportunity to make a friend and make a customer for life. We've been rolling out our last mile delivery node. And my colleague, Colin Yankee, who leads our supply chain business or supply chain capability, does a phenomenal job. And, one of the things that Colin does well is he wants to make sure that our drivers, when they're going out, they're going on someone's property, they're asking questions and understanding that customer. And, they're not just dropping it off and walking away. They want to make sure that customer has a great experience, and owning more of that experience, especially for like bigger and bulkier items, is critical to our success. And that's why we're going to roll that out nationwide.
So, Nick, I think my favorite retailer and I need therapy.
You and another website?
I've waited 5 seconds for it to load. 5. I could have gone and brewed coffee.
That's a quick coffee maker, first of all, but that sounds like a performance issue to me.
Yeah, instead of communicating, it just spun.
So you left, I'm sure. Classic abandonment issue due to latency.
Exactly. And that's why the Lowe's SRE team built site speed targets with Blue Triangle, so their users don't get ghosted by loading icons.
This is 5 steps to faster pages and fewer heartbreaks, all in the context of improved experience and improved revenue.
In fact, we turned it into a free playbook.
It's like a couples therapy for your digital experience, for you and your website, Chuck.
So be sure to grab the 5-step site speed target playbook at bluetriangle.com/playbook.
Because love is patient, but users aren't.
You touched on something there, and you've talked a lot about buy online, pick up in store, having delivered. But something that makes you unique as a retailer is the size and the types of things that people can buy, right? Because they can buy tanks, they can buy pallets of feed, they can get tractors, they can get animals. I mean, talk a little bit about that and what unique challenges that presents from an e-commerce and digital standpoint.
Yeah, I often joke, right? If you think about the types of products we deliver and the size of products we deliver, it's very diverse. I have colleagues, in the clothing business, and I always, sometimes I'm jealous of how relatively simplistic that is in terms of the bag size that product gets to go out in. Worst come to worst, they buy a lot of things and you put it in a bigger bag. With us, it's really complicated, right? A customer says, "Hey, I need a bag of dog food," and while I'm buying a bag of dog food, send me a safe. That is a very complicated delivery compared to a bag of dog food. And then to your point, I mean, you have a larger property, Nick, as you referenced earlier, and we're dropping off pallets of shavings or pallets of pelletized bedding or horse feed, or cattle feed or cubes, different protein tubs, things that are big and bulky, stock tanks, Chuck, as you mentioned, things that are oblong, in most cases heavy and big, right? So we have to have a very robust supply chain apparatus, not only in our distribution centers and getting those to the stores, but then that last mile and getting it to our customers. And we do that through a network of partners and our team member delivery, which we call our final mile program, that is being rolled out because of that complexity. And as we continue to roll that out, that is one of our big differentiators. A lot of people can send you and ship you relatively small things, but big, bulky, complex things that require some nuance and care and feeding. And hey, do you want that near your feed barn? You don't want that at the end of your driveway, right? We're dropping off 2 pallets. Where do you want that to go? So you got to have the gate open up, and you got to drive to that piece of the property. And here you want it delivered. How do we take notes to know that the next driver, right? Let's say that driver's sick next time, or he's got the day off, or she has the day off. And then the next delivery, you don't want that person going, okay, well, I'll just drive it at the end of the driveway. No, you take it to where that customer wants it. And that is very unique. And it's that sort of neighbor type feel that we can do, and that is very special, sort of increases our differentiation of our customers.
Man, that painted a big picture for me. I have I've gotten deliveries before and they just drop it. And I mean, big and bulky deliveries too, where I can't just up and lift it in a few minutes. It takes, hours of one piece at a time. And they dropped it and blocked my vehicle from being able to get out. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I had to move it just to get out. And that's all I moved it for.
And I would do a shout out to our delivery drivers, to be honest with you. One of the things that impressed me so much, and I traveled with our direct sales team down in Florida not too long ago, and our direct sales team, targets customers that have larger properties and so on. And they talked about, being there with our delivery drivers, hand stacking pallets off trucks and into feed barns and so on to make sure that customer had a very comprehensively good experience with us. And it is really impressive the work they do, because it is carrying a lot of weight and moving a lot of weight, and they work awfully hard, not just moving product, but making sure that customer has a Tractor Supply quality experience.
Yeah, I would guess it sounds like that your ability to adapt to that, to personalize that experience, to repeat the a positive experience each time is really a competitive advantage for Tractor Supply.
I think you're right. And, there's a lot of people that sell the products we sell. When people say, hey, who's your competition? I said, almost everybody. I mean, we sell clothing, beef jerky, motor oil, live birds, pelletized bedding and safes. I mean, you talk about, we got the gamut of product, right? So we have people that compete with us in different spaces. What is unique about us is how we bring that all together. How we bring that together in the store in a great merchandising way. Our merchants do a phenomenal job. Seth Estep, who leads our merchant organization, is a phenomenal merchant who focuses on making sure those customers get the products they need every single day, sprinkled in with those nice to have and new moments that they can shop for in the store. And you have that great merchandising, that great experience, capped off by wonderful team members in our stores, and then bringing that to life digitally by showcasing those same sort of moments to customers in addition to their core staples. But that wide variety, that wide assortment that's carried in one brand And online, we're almost 10 times the SKUs that we carry in the store. So being able to have even a wider assortment of products, almost all brands in a given category or all SKUs in a bigger category, so that we can truly be the leader for our customers in the categories in which we compete and do it all in one place, and allow those customers to earn Neighbors Club points on each one of their purchases and redeem them towards things that matter for them. They get to redeem them for dollars off shopping with us, which is just, kind of reducing their cost, because a lot of our customers operate their properties, whether it's a known business, whether they're, breeders or trainers or what have you, or it's a family business or a family farm, right? They view the products they buy from us as a cost of goods sold in their business. So we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that drives, great everyday low price and additional incentives to make sure that a customer gets a good price value when they shop with us.
Quick story that I'll relate back to then your use of AI. So we'll get to that, but and how you're educating. But I was on a plane. I live in Phoenix. I was traveling to New York. I was on a plane taxiing down the runway. By the way, I am not your customer. I live in a neighborhood. I am not, I am as, Nick is the ultimate DIY guy. I am the ultimate do it for me guy. I'm very good at hiring people to have stuff done. I consider that my superpower. So I'm taxiing down the runway and I get a notification from American Express that I just spent $800 at Tractor Supply. It was so obvious that was fraud because I had never been in a Tractor Supply store. But of course, I was on an airplane for the next 4 hours. I couldn't do anything about it until I landed in New York. But anyway, that's my funny one experience with Tractor Supply. But you do get customers. You do get people who are new to this lifestyle.
Don't give up on us, Chuck. I'm not done. I think we'll turn you into a customer just yet.
When you guys are moving into the burbs, because there's a Tractor Supply not far from here, so I could go to one of your stores for sure.
And I do think, we mentioned the categories in which we participate. COVID was a very interesting time for us, obviously tragic and, from a health standpoint, and kind of the impacts that it had on kind of us as a culture and a country. But one of the side impacts of that was a lot of customers looking to be more self-sustained in their life and lifestyle. And that included moving to more rural lifestyle. I think the increase of remote work capability helped enable that, but also people that were just looking for that self-reliance and lifestyle. And that doesn't mean you have to go all the way, right? You don't have to grow every vegetable. But, hey, I want farm fresh eggs. Can I do that myself? Yes, you can. I have a raised garden that my wife and I didn't know that it was going to really matter where we're going to use it. And we make guacamole every single Tuesday in season using all the ingredients from our garden mixed in with avocados, and literally every other ingredient we get from our raised garden. Unfortunately, we don't have a large piece of property that we can utilize. So we use a raised garden and we buy every single thing we need for that at Tractor Supply. So we get to introduce this lifestyle, even on a smaller scale, to a lot of different customers that may not have been our core customer at the outset, but between the pet category, lawn and garden, so on, clothing, I think we could serve that customer as well.
I find it interesting that the focus of COVID for you is self-sustainability. That's really interesting. I mean, I've seen the explosive growth of Tractor Supply. I mean, I don't think any brand at a, percentage growth saw what Tractor Supply saw. And you probably hit the nail on the head with that. It is about being able to figure out how to create less dependency on things that you don't realize you're dependent on. And that's what COVID highlighted. I mean, I'm case 1A of that, frankly. I sought out to try to figure out how can I be more on my own and make sure that when things that you don't realize you have a single thread of dependency on, that, you have a solution for it. That's a really, really interesting angle to this that I never considered.
Yeah, and it was something that kind of happened, and customers said, "Hey, we need this from you." And that's the benefit of being that dependable supplier, is we got a reputation for that. And whether it was people stocking up, A lot of people were doing dehydrated food. It was a trend that we didn't fell on, if you will, and said, "Hey, you should carry these items, and because you can put some rations and stores away if you need it." Obviously, as I mentioned, having your own garden, creating your own flock, and generating your own eggs. And duck eggs, by the way, are great for baking. So if I can do a plug, not just for over easy in the morning, but duck eggs for baking. And we have live birds that we sell and store during our Chick Days events. And customers getting into that lifestyle for the very first time. You don't need to have a big flock. After a while, you'd be amazed how many eggs you generate to the point where you're giving them away. So.
Yeah, eggs are our next stage because we have a 1-year-old and he'll be 3 in 2 weeks, a 3-year-old. And when they are old enough to be able to handle chickens being around, that's when it's time for us to at least get chickens. But I might try ducks now.
Hey, you want to do it when they're old enough so it doesn't become your chore. That's the goal. That's it. That's how you have to figure it out, right?
Wise words.
That's what you want. You want this to be a teaching moment, right? So, it's a great thing to teach kids. I mean, my kids I have younger kids as well. They get such a kick out of the fact that they get to take a pepper, right, off the raised garden that they planted and bring it inside to mom. They just get such a kick out of the fact that this grew. Oh my goodness. And I watered it and look what happened. And it becomes fun thing to do as a family too.
So it's interesting. You talk about COVID and all that. So these people that have this Green Acres moment, if I can date myself back to the TV show, where they're moving from Park Avenue out to the rural area, there must be a lot of education and try to understand how are you all addressing that?
So, Hal Lawton, our CEO, references this all the time. And I think I steal it because I think it's wonderful, is he says that we hire our customers every day. And what that means is, people that live our lifestyle, that love the products we sell, that embrace those products in our lifestyle every day, want to come work with us. And they become the storytellers. They become the informers when customers come into our stores. And we try to replicate that digitally a little bit as well. We launched our Scout AI platform last year in beta, and beta's gone very well, where customers can ask it questions. So it's, I would call it Search Plus in a lot of ways. And it's really how do I's. And we like to think of answering that question. How do I? I live in Tennessee, right? This is my climate. It already knows that, right? So how do I have a raised garden? When should I plant, right? What do I do at the first frost? All those types of questions that are very unique to first-time people, right? Getting into this lifestyle for the first time. Now, if you've had a pet for a long time, you may not have those questions, but you may have different questions, right? My pet seems to have developed this allergy, right? Or I have skin and coat problems that have popped up. What should I do? And being able to ask and get recommendations based on the assortment that we carry, so that it can be real recommendations that are very, very tactical, and try to replicate some of that great experience that you have in our stores.
One of my first pieces of advice to anybody new inside the workforce is to be your own customer, and it feels very similar. Just feel the pain of your customer. Just be your own customer. Just always be your own customer.
Yeah, we're blessed. Even at what we call our store support center here, is how many team members have properties, have chicks, have done things, have lots of pets. We have lots of pets. We have Bring Your Dog to Work Day. You should see how many dogs we have running around here. Matter of fact, on the door that I have to my office, I still have my dog's name, Oliver, on there from when I joined running our PetSense business. Because we just make pets part of our life and lifestyle. It becomes part of our daily routine. So we have vet clinics in our stores. We bought a company called Ally Vet, and we now offer being able to fulfill all your pet prescriptions on our website directly to the customer, so that we can store all your vet contact information, the prescription itself, be able to fulfill it on an auto ship basis, and give you great value for that. So we're trying to really round that out. So even if you're not into quite the livestock opportunity, or even things like a garden, right? But you have pets in the house, our experience on rounding out what a customer can buy from us is pretty impressive. And I think our teams have done a wonderful job kind of continuing to iterate on that.
That's awesome. Well, this has been a great conversation. We've learned a ton about Tractor Supply and the lifestyle that you support. Let's end on this question. It's a question we ask every guest. What's one widely held belief about frictionless digital experiences that you think people get wrong, that you fundamentally disagree with?
I think that there is a belief with frictionless that is a digital only experience, that it is locked into just your interaction with a device. And that's not true. The friction happens at every stage of the purchase journey, all the way until the product is fulfilled and in the customer's hands. So, and that's how we look at it. We look at it end to end. If that shopping occasion started by a customer learning about something in the store, and then they wanted something delivered from the store, they didn't really have a digital experience, but they used our digital capabilities to fulfill that experience, right? And did we live up to that? If their shopping occasion began online before they walked into the store because they wanted to make sure we were in stock on a given item, right? We better be in stock when they come to pick it up. So that means our post-purchase communication, everything around fulfillment has to be very, very good, because we're providing a necessary service for that customer on their property and to take care of their animals. So I think that our approach is that the friction could be anywhere in that journey and not just the interaction or the experience online.
Well, Matthew, pleasure having you. If somebody wants to get in touch with you and carry on the conversation, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, I think they can reach out on LinkedIn, or some of those other methods. But I track that pretty close. So great to connect with people.
Well, thank you all for tuning into the Frictionless Experience, and we appreciate you joining us for this episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to leave a review. If there's a topic you'd love us to cover, or maybe a guest you would love to hear, reach out to Nick or me, and you can always find us on LinkedIn. I am at Chuck Moxley, and Nick is
In Palladino.